Hi everyone, just wanted to put this little video together. I've got underneath my warm cozy shawl, I've got my sunshine on. But, just wanted to give my input to everything going on with this COVID virus. So a long time ago I studied science at university in microbiology, virology and immunology, and many years later I went on to study Ayurveda. So I just wanted to share what's come to me in the last couple of weeks through my knowledge of Ayurveda, inspiration from what others in the healthcare community have given, and just some insights from looking at previous cases and working on my cookbook that I've just almost completed over the last 12 months. So I'll just start. The very first thing I did when all of this started was meditation. There was a lot of stress, anxiety, not knowing what was going on, and so I started meditation straight away. The next thing was probiotics. This time of the year, late in the rains, early autumn, is always a time when lung issues come up. I've noticed it's that particular time of the year, and so any stress, anxiety, worry, overworking, running yourself down is going to bring on lung symptoms if people have had something in the past, such as bronchitis, pneumonia, COPD, asthma conditions, any physical damage in the lung due to any previous lung disorders, and inflammation starts in the body. That increase in acidity is obviously going to throw your gut flora out of balance, which affects your colon. Then moving on to vitamin C. So vitamin C is needed when fighting any kind of infection in the body. So vitamin C. Mandarins. Mandarins are high in vitamin C, but they're obviously sweeter than an orange, and they're not sour like a lemon. So when you're thinking in terms of inflammation in the body, mandarin out of the citrus group is your better bet. Sweet potatoes, we had the end of the rains, so sweet potatoes are sweet, pacify Pitta, grounding Vata. Any kind of berry, blackberries, I think there were blueberries, any of those kinds of berries, providing, well, you can have them cooked, but even fresh, fantastic vitamin C. Baked lemons with honey. I did make those. You have to make sure you puncture them so they don't explode. And make lots of comfort food during the rains too. You know, your gnocchi with tomato, your spaghetti, bolognese, vegetarian of course. Mango chutney with chili. Mangoes also very high in vitamin C. They are heating, but in the early stages, in the prevention stages, before any inflammation is occurring in the body, anything with vitamin C, providing you're not Pitta aggravated, is really good with some chili, just to clean the rasa, that bit of pungency, that bit of warmth for the lungs. But then obviously if there are any symptoms coming up, then we've got to back off, because we don't want to introduce inflammatories then that are Pitta aggravating. So some of these may be pre-symptom, some may be post-symptom. So obviously anything that's going to be Pitta aggravating, we're not going to use after any symptoms do occur. for anyone with pre-existing conditions. Earl Grey tea, a really simple tea that calms anxiety down because of the bergamot oil content. Very calming, just like chamomile. If people don't have Brahmi, sometimes we have to use things that people commonly have in their kitchen or at the supermarket if they can't get hold of the herbs themselves. So Earl Grey tea is a carminative. Other obvious vitamin C veggies, which are also grounding in this situation, your carrots, your beetroots. Then you've got all your anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antibacterials such as garlic and onion and turmeric. On that note, we mustn't forget obviously that we shouldn't have sugar in the diet. Small amounts of jaggery are okay, but not in the acute stage of any symptoms. I also thought that post symptoms appearing, that so once you have viral symptoms, then you're susceptible to bacterial, and then you would think that you'd also be susceptible to other things like parasites in the body. So just as a precautionary measure, I like to include things that are anti-parasitic as well. So your hing, even your small amounts of baby papaya leaf, and also things like bay leaves and eucalyptus leaves have oils in them too, and they're easy to get from your back garden, get from the supermarket. They can be included in food, or the bay leaf can, and but the eucalypt, it's safer for inhalation if people haven't got the wintergreen or the wintergreen balm. So you have different options there. Citrus leaves as well, anything, orange, lemon, Kapha lime leaf, they all have these volatile oils that can be used for inhalation. Just small amounts though, like 2 or 3 leaves, because they're quite strong. So when we need vitamin C in the diet, we also need zinc when we're dealing with viruses. So as we know, zinc is in dairy, nuts and seeds. A lot of people are scared of dairy when it comes to any kind of inflammation, viruses, lung problems, because it's so associated with mucus, which is a disaster, because milk is cooling and it's nourishing, and when your Agni is at its lowest, quite often milk is the antidote to everything. It's nourishing, it gives you everything you need, and it doesn't require a lot of Agni compared to food. Providing people are putting pepper and the ginger and the, if they've got pipali, ginger powder, fresh ginger, to help digest, and the cardamom as well, obviously. I mentioned before the buttermilk, even though it's a little bit sour, as a preventative, because of its sourness, fantastic with warm water, and cumin. Cumin, also a fantastic spice. Everybody has access to it. It's easy to use. People already know how to use it. It's warming. It's very easy to use. Hydration. So it's really important that people are drinking warm water and not getting dehydrated. Ayurvedic herbs, formulas, we know the basic ones that deal with viruses, skin disorders, rasa, and the lungs. So we have our Kadira, we have our Sariva, we have our Ashwagandha for strength, increasing white blood cell count, that is. Chaiwan Prash in small amounts, quite heavy, but amazing preventative, and just licking very, very small amounts. Then for the lungs, we've got our Vata, we've got a Guduchi. I might just throw Bunimba in there as well. as a great herb, provided it's used in a formulation. Those there are products out on the market with Bunimba in extract. They're quite popular. I won't name them. Pharmaceuticals and pharmacists actually sell it, even though it's an Ayurvedic herb. But as I said, it's an extract. So as we know, it's Vata aggravating on its own. Another little herb that's really good for the lungs is thyme from people's kitchen gardens. You can take it as a tea, you can put it in your cooking. Mand, some rice, some ginger, some turmeric, fresh of course, some salt, and you can even throw some parsley in there, because parsley is really good for the clearing the urinary system. Garlic, I forgot the garlic. So in terms of practices, a really simple one for opening up the lungs, back bends. If people are experiencing no anxiety, I don't know the special name, but I was taught by a classical yoga teacher for a couple of years, and he showed me, I wouldn't call it a posture, but he'd make me hang off a chair with my head down so I wasn't touching the ground, and with my legs up on the chair and weighed down. So it was a forward bend. Depression, if people are feeling despair, they need more prana in their body. They're more advanced techniques, but the simple techniques for basically calming the mind is your various breathing techniques, and pranayama, this one, to calm and center the mind and to increase prana in the body. And just being in nature where there's a nice clear energy and clear air, providing the air's not too cold or it's not too hot. Other practices, salt gargling. Viruses tend to kind of hang out and have a party around the tonsil area at the back of the mouth, and it's kind of the first place that they hang out before they become systemic and then start attacking all the cells in the body. Well, they don't attack. What they do is they kind of land on a cell, and then they actually have a little, like a mosquito, they'll inject their DNA into the cell, and then all the DNA uses all the machinery in our cells to replicate themselves. So that means they build new copies of themselves or clone themselves. Fresh garlic tea, gargle that there as well, just to get the numbers down before it becomes systemic. Having said that, a virus can come and go. It's kind of like you come down with something and then you think you're better, but it's actually still in the body. So if you don't keep up the practices for a period of time, it just rears up again. So you can get this recurrent infection problem, which can actually happen over years and years at the same time of the year. As we know, certain runs of things tend to happen at certain times of the year. Is Vasaguducciardi. Difficult to make, difficult to store and keep. So it's a high level medicine, you know. It's only to be used in severe cases, emergency cases, life-threatening cases, because we don't want to, as we learnt, go for the strongest thing straight away, because we don't want to tell the mind we're at that level of sickness yet. Pomegranate juice, anything with high vitamin C, low sugar, light soups, light foods, immunity soups. So yeah, light foods are crucial so that we keep the Agni up. First thing that goes with any kind of infection is the Agni, especially viruses. which then the rasa gets like overloaded, and then if you're not sweating as well and you don't have the energy to do exercise, then everything builds up on the rasa until it spills into the rakta, invading the whole system. Breathing techniques, crucial for stress, which, as we know, increases cortisol in the body, which lowers the immune response. They go hand in hand, unfortunately. Resting in nature is so regenerative, and it's free. Sleep and rest, crucial. Everyone's scrambling, find answers, solutions, financial, family, juggling, change of routine, all of those things. Bit hard to rest until we realize we don't have control, and then we realize that we can actually get back to basics, back to connection, back to our own spiritual self, and cooking, gardening, creativity, things we're too busy to do, things we're too distracted to do. What a blessing, hey? Sleep, I advocate going to bed earlier. I definitely think going to bed at least an hour earlier. 10 o'clock's my maximum time. Now that I've identified that even I need to do that, I'm going to start pushing it back by half an hour, which is manageable for people. So to 9:30 to 9 o'clock, and maybe I'll get myself back to sundown. Who knows? Before there were lights and electricity, which is actually our original biorhythm, just as getting up before sunlight for meditation is when we actually should be practicing it, which is like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And that may be difficult at first, but at some point during your practice, if you're committed to it, it will occur naturally. Rest as much during the day, sleep at night. I'm going to emphasize no sleeping during the day at the moment. I don't feel that it's healthy, because there's certain chemicals that can be produced in the brain in certain people that can actually worsen their condition mentally and biologically as well. Some other little things, well, they're not so little, gratitude, really diving deep into those parts of our personality that we haven't looked at, and even if we have looked at it, we haven't worked on it, and even if we have worked on it, we'll go deeper into the mastery of those aspects of our personality that still need some fine-tuning, or a lot of fine-tuning. So gratitude for the people around you, gratitude for what we have, and just being grateful for little things. And I know what I'm grateful for, getting back to some simplicity in life, self-sufficiency, things like learning how to bake bread, being able to get milk from the dairy, simplicity, which I just mentioned. Slowing down, which for some people is really hard. People talk about slowing down and being in the present moment and looking after yourself and self-care. Some people find that very difficult. Some people are workaholics. Some people are covering emotions, things they can't deal with. It's hard for them to slow down. They are trapped in this pattern due to whatever reason, unworthiness, shame. And last of all, for my list, I'd like to add to reduce technology. So technology is pretty cool at the moment in terms of connecting with others when we can't in the physical. But the endless searching, researching, wanting to know the ins and outs of everything. People need to find someone that they can trust and listen to. Doesn't mean that they have all the answers, but you're doing them a great service by being yourself. Words and explanations and increasing complexity of everything. As complex as everything is, it's also equally simple. But complexity and information is endless. They say in a single cell, things go down at an atomic level. Like you have a cell and you have a nucleus and you have an atom, and then you have electrons, and then you have neutrons, and then there's names for even smaller parts of those things, and then there's names for even smaller parts of those things, and that is infinite. So where does it end? In the case of people with lung disorders, you definitely get drained by using your voice too much. So that is why I advocate just the use of the Gayatri mantra with an emphasis on correct pronunciation and correct posture. One sound technique I did learn with my yoga teacher years ago was, I recall that it stimulated, I think, the thymus gland, and that was closing the eyes and closing the ears and making a buzzing sound like a bee. So I hope this list is helpful, and I also know that as much has been given to me through knowledge and learning, through experience of clients and others, friends and family, and of my own personal journey, that there are others that have their own unique insights and experience that can contribute to this discussion, this putting together of information and experience and understanding and knowledge and wisdom. And I humbly offer my contribution, and hoping that everyone is in good health.